Hey everybody, today we're looking at something new. We've been playing this for a couple of days now. You may have seen this pop up around the internet. You may have seen it through your Facebook feed. It is called The Amazing Eternals. Now looking right off the bat here, you can kind of imagine what it is. It's a first-person shooter online, competitive. Currently, at present, we believe it's free to play. It's currently in beta. We're playing the beta right now online. And you might think, well, there's a ton of those. We got Overwatch, we got Paladins, you got Lawbreakers, on and on and on. There's so many of them that they come and go quickly. But The Amazing Eternals is interesting in that it's captured our attention quite heavily, and we actually haven't jumped into Overwatch in the last few days simply because of how interesting this is as a concept. Now, The Amazing Eternals is broken up into 3 parts, and now each of these 3 parts would essentially be their own game anywhere else. What you're looking at right here is the first-person shooter aspect, and that is the main chunk of the game. That's what you're going to be dealing with the most. That's what you're going to be interacting with the most. You have a number of classes, as you would expect. Right now in the beta, I believe there's only 4 classes available. There's a new one coming out, and they're going to expand and so on. So those classes are cool in themselves aesthetically, and it's one of the reasons where I really got into The Amazing Eternals because of the look. You can kind of see right here going at him, fighting a kind of Spaceman Steve looking guy. And what this is, it's kind of all based on the 1950s pulp comic book era. So you're going to see a lot of characters, kind of like a Flash Gordon over there. You see kind of a skull monster, a forest monster. You have your traditional kind of space marine kind of thing. You have a healer, which is kind of Mara, if you want to say, kind of in that Aquaman kind of world style. It's all very cool. They each kind of have their own thing. And if you can kind of see on the left hand of the screen, at the bottom, that those cards that are popped up, you can actually activate during play. Now that's the second part of The Amazing Eternals, which is it's a real-time collectible card game that's built into this FPS. So those card game mechanics are there and active. So what you can do before each encounter or each game is you create customized decks, and you can kind of shape them the way you want. And as you play, you will level up and gain XP, and that XP will allow you to purchase more card packs. Will open up as you play, which is pretty cool. You can build your deck with, say, a bunch of powerful weapons if you want to do that. You can kind of use more stealthy build. You can use a lot of boosts if you want, speed boosts, health boosts, all sorts of things. Also depending on your character. Now the one I'm playing right now is the kind of Space Marine character. He's kind of the go-to standard first-person shooter character. The skull monster, kind of a Frankenstein's monster kind of thing, which was very cool. He kind of deals in shotguns. This guy, as you can see, his name I believe is Winter. He deals with kind of long-range weapons. You have the Spaceman Steve, the 1950s space knot over there, is more of a support character. He can build turrets. He can also fly a little bit. You have the big Treebeard sort of dude that kind of just beats everything out of his way and can take a lot of damage. And then, of course, you have the healer character. There's 2 more, I believe, going to be slowly implemented in this right now. So those cards are interesting because they don't just buff you when you go into play. As you can see, I'm activating these cards during the match, and they kind of act like ultimates in other games like in Paladins or in Overwatch, except they recharge quite a bit more quickly. And what they do is they serve several purposes. In my case right here, they open up new weapons. So I have kind of this rocket launcher thing that can call down an airstrike. I have a long-distance rifle, more like a sniper rifle. I have a cryo beam, and these cards come into play. Now, because it's a card game, there's a random chance of them popping up in your deck, depending on where you place them. You can place them on a lower end, or you can place them on a higher end, so you'll have a better turnout. So a lot of that has to do with kind of the strategic element of how you want to play, but there's also a little bit of luck involved, because you could be at the right time and get the right card. And this guy right here, as you're watching, has a pistol, and that pistol is pretty effective both ways. Some might say a little OP, but it really depends on how good your talent is. But if you have the right cards that pop up with that pistol, you're going to be able to get something like unlimited ammo, no reload time, or a longer magazine, all sorts of things that can really change an encounter, even if you're fighting against yourself with someone on the opposite team, you could have a real big impact. Now, if you can see right here, I picked up the cryo weapon, which freezes enemies. Works really well, but you kind of have to get in pretty nice and tight. So that's the real interesting aspect. Now, the third aspect that you don't see right here, and that you're not going to see in any of these gameplay videos, is what happens prior to each match and after each match. And that is where the board game element, which is the third part of this, comes into play. So what the Amazing Eternals has is a full-fledged board game, and that is actually how you kind of upgrade kind of your character and your level. It's really interesting. You move along the board as you complete tasks and as you upgrade and level up, and once you reach each kind of board piece, many of them have buffs that they give you. So you might get a new card pack, you might get an extra character slot, you might get a new character completely. So the character I'm playing with here, Winter, I believe is his name, I actually got from the board once I landed onto the proper square. Now, that's really interesting as you go around building and building and building. Now, of course, the higher you get, the longer it's going to take to get upgrades and characters and this stuff. So there is a concern of the Amazing Eternals becoming a kind of pay-to-win sort of situation where you can kind of bypass all that stuff. And I fell in love with this game right away aesthetically, but not mechanically, because when you come into this game, you are starting on peg 1 of the board. You can choose between one of 2 characters. They give you an option of 3, and that's going to essentially be your main for a little while. And you don't get anything. There's no card packs to open. There's no anything. You're going to start off with basically just your stock sidearm, and maybe a couple of boosts along the way, and you're just going to kind of get yourself destroyed. Now, that's one of the things that I worry about once the game launches. In the beta mode right now, it's not that big a deal because everyone's fairly new and beta keys are going out, so everyone's kind of on the same level, and if you go into the chat during the game, everyone's still figuring things out. But once this has been out for a few weeks, few months, the disparity between top level and bottom level is going to be quite high. So I don't know if they're going to implement some sort of ranking procedure, or if everything right now everyone's just kind of thrown in together. But that in itself is really interesting. The characters right off the bat are going to grab your attention, and the style is going to really grab your attention. It's a lot of fun. It's still in beta, and right now we know that there are, gosh, how many? 5 Eternals. You got Bristle, which is the tank. Like I said, that's the big tree. Dread is the assault, which is shotgun. He's probably going to be your go-to if you're just starting this game. Nautica is support, and she does the heals. Ray is what this game calls control, and Winter, the guy you're watching right now, is assault. Nia is coming soon. She looks to be some sort of archer. And if you look on the game board, of course, it kind of gives a little bit more away, as there's kind of a Loch Ness monster type of thing, or kind of creature from the Black Lagoon. There's some Pharaoh-looking woman, and there's a couple other things. So it does look like it's going to be fairly expansive. Now, there's a lot going on in the Amazing Eternals. The board game, the card game, and the shooty shoot, which you're watching right now. You can kind of see me getting beat down. It is in beta. It is not perfect. So be warned when you jump in there. Don't expect a full experience right off the bat. There are a lot of balancing issues a lot of people are complaining about. There's a lot of tactics people are figuring out. If you use the tank, which he's massive, Bristle, and you use the support, the healer, you essentially can become pretty much unstoppable because of his mass and his size. You can actually hide behind him. See what she's doing? You can watch it right there as it just passed by. One of our teammates is healing the Bristle, and as long as she can stay out of trouble, she's fairly okay. The hitbox on her is a little interesting. I'm not sure it's quite where I'd like it to be. I know they're making some tweaks right now. She also has, unlike, say, like a Mercy or something who just got buffed, she has offensive capabilities. So she can turn... this comes into play with the card. So she basically has a healing beam, and she has a death beam, which will drain your life. It goes fairly slow. But she can pull a card with her trident and again heal kind of in a wide cone area, so she can heal a number of people around you, or she can kill a number of people around you. And because she's so fast and she's so small, she becomes a real problem at times that people are complaining about. Now, the same thing goes for some other characters, but the big talk in the forums right now is about her and kind of her ability to kind of jump all over the map. She also has a teleport ability that can get her back to spawn instantly with the card pull. So there's some interesting stuff going on, and because there aren't the full roster of characters yet, there isn't really a counterbalance directly for every single one of the characters yet, even though that tends to be the case. Just like in Overwatch, if you play one character, there tends to be another character that can kind of negate that character one way or the other. In the Eternals right now, there's not enough of them. So if you're very good with Winter here, if you're a more traditional FPS player and say like a Soldier 76, or you have some really good aim, Winter becomes a very huge problem for a lot of people at a distance. And it's not very easy to counter because there isn't another distance character. Yeah, you can use Dread, but his range is very limited unless you get a pull, again, with a card that ups the distance of, say, your pistol. And that's a lot of the cool stuff happens in those cards, because you can take someone, like I said, like a Dread, who is a very up close and very shotgun-oriented character, who has a really nice strong sidearm, and pull a range amplifier card and essentially become almost a sniper with that weapon. So if you're very good with that shot, you're going to do very well here. So we'll see where that sort of develops. You can pick it up right now and sign up for the beta over at AmazingEternals.com. You can sign up for free, drop your email address, and see if you can get in to join the beta. They're really encouraging people to get into the forums and start talking and letting people know. There does seem to be a lot of interaction between everyone there, which is a good sign. And the people putting this together are veterans in the industry, so this is not just some random new game. It is coming out. It's not a Kickstarter. There's not anything like that. So it's already in beta, which is always nice to do. You can also, if you want to jump in and do support the game, you can sign up for a Founders Pack. There's $20, which gives you instant access, and you get kind of the Founders Badge, and you get like nearly 3,000 tokens for card packs and stuff once that launches. Don't think you can buy anything right now. I'm not sure. I haven't checked that area. But just playing directly into the game without any pay, at this point, it's really fun. You can also, there's 3 other levels of Founders. There's $50 pack, which gives you kind of a pewter prototype Ray game piece, because you have a game piece in the game, which I think you're the only one that can see that, so that's purely cosmetic from your end. You get the Founders Badge, and you get a prototype Ray profile icon. You also get the voice pack and the prototype gun skins and other stuff. So there looks like there's going to be a lot of skins and a lot of extra stuff to slightly differentiate, even though you pick the same character. It is fully voiced. Everyone says stuff all the time. It seems to be, depending on the character, how heavy that voiceover is. Dread is, pretty dark and depressing. Winter doesn't say much except some, basic Space Marine commands. And Ray, of course, is the big one, who is completely fully voiced, almost to the point where it becomes ludicrous, and you really want to shut him up. But he is that kind of Spaceman Steve character, and it is pretty funny. The Eternal Adventure pack also has 8 beta keys, and you get to be part of the Design Council, which votes on designs and names in the game. So that's kind of neat if you really want to be involved a little bit more in the game. The $49, the $50 pack that I talked about has 4 beta keys. If you do that, you can spread the love a little bit with people. And then, of course, the Legend Pack has 16 beta keys, Design Council, a Traveler's Pack gift to give to a friend, a Founder's Stamp, a bunch of icons and stuff, and that's $250. I'm not sure. It says a value of $558, but you got to really be in love with the game to kind of spend that kind of money, or outfit like an entire office if that's your cup of tea. And lastly, they just kind of came out with the Immortal Pack, and this one is absolutely ridiculous. It is $1,000 if you want to support this game. So I know that a lot of this sounds crazy past like the $50 reward, because $50 is about the same price as a brand new game. But this is also with respect to kind of funding the game itself, because there's no Kickstarter, because I'm sure they have investors in that stuff. but this kind of goes a long way. So if you do kind of want to fancy yourself in that, you can. It comes with 100,001 tokens, a custom in-game Easter egg, founder's badge, on 25 beta keys, on and on and on. So that's kind of extra stuff if you want to do it. I didn't buy anything. They didn't send anything our way. We kind of just signed up for the beta on our own. We actually saw it through Facebook and jumped in on it and have been having an absolute blast with the game. Now, again, just be warned, it is in beta. We don't know how long that beta is going to last. There have been a lot of patches and patch notes coming in. People have been very active. There's still a lot of concern about team balance. As always, because a game like this, hackers are already kind of trying to jump in and figure all this sorts of things, and it's a little bit messy. But what does work really well is getting into a game. And I haven't had to wait more than a few seconds to jump into a game. It'll jump you and fill you into a spot. And there are a rotation right now, I believe 3 maps. There's an Old West. There's that Ice World that we just played on. And there is something else. I can't remember what the other one was. I believe it's like Dread's kind of medieval world. But that's kind of what the game is. And, you know, if you like it, go check it out. Hopefully you enjoyed this playthrough. And make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more. If you want to see us play the Amazing Eternals, you can head over to our Twitch page, link in the description. And we'll catch you guys next time. So thanks. Bye.